Yeah.
Mate, how excited are you getting your first opportunity to play at the World Cup? Imagine it's tough week in, week out, training your backside off and not getting to play on the weekend. So what's the feeling like knowing you're actually going to take the field this weekend?
Yeah, look, I'm excited. Yeah, it's been I don't know. Yeah, it's it's just one of those things where that's part of footy. If you don't get to play, you don't get to play. If you, at the end of the day, you just got to rock up every week in, day in, day out, and do your very best to prepare the team for that week. But this week I finally get an opportunity, so I'm just thinking about doing my job for the boys and putting a lot of pride into that jersey for everyone back home as well.
Speaking of pride, have you or will you allow yourself a moment to reflect on how far you've come from a few years ago, some difficult times, and the pride for yourself, the pride for your family when you're on the field and playing in a Rugby World Cup?
Yeah, 100%. I think it's a huge pinch myself moment. Yeah, definitely come a long way. But yeah, all I'm thinking about right now is doing a job on the weekend. And yeah, that's about it. And
you're also a Bronco. Any chance to catch the grand final Sunday morning, which is obviously game day for you? You need to have your head screwed on, but will you be able to watch the Broncos in the NRL grand final Sunday?
What time is it in the morning?
Yeah, 10:30.
In the morning?
Oh
yeah, I'll be able to catch that. But yeah, I'm back in the Bronx. Yeah. Just.
Also, I guess your combination with Ben Johnson and La, is that obviously having that New South Wales link? Do you feel like that's, I guess, going to help you guys?
Yeah, most definitely. We've trained really well together this past week. There's a lot of familiarity with Dono and La. Having the opportunity to play, obviously, 3 years together. We trust each other. We've grown together over the 3 years. So, hopefully from the week we've had and on Sunday we can, change things up and do the best we can. How's that off?
Is he just also, you've got a young family back at home and so forth, has it been even more difficult knowing that you've got a young family, you're here, and you've kind of been holding bags for a fair while too?
Yeah, it's always the case when, in a sense, like, it's hard emotionally, but also it's also hard on my partner as well. So she's doing all the work back home, so I've got nothing to complain about. When I get full night's rests and get to do the job that I love, I wouldn't sort of see it as holding bags. I'd sort of see it as opportunity to get better every day. I think that's what sort of helps me get through the weeks is just perspective on it all.
Yeah. Fraser, you've kind of been in and out of the side over the last couple of years, the international team. Just what are some of the key differences in terms of injecting your game and differences in perhaps the step up and the test rugby and why perhaps you haven't quite been able to nail the consistency or have the effectiveness on the ball that you've usually want?
Yeah, obviously test footy is different. It's obviously playing everyone at their, at the best sort of level. I suppose when I come off the bench, my role is to bring energy, my pace off the ball, work off the ball. I try to bring that on the weekend, try to bring that energy when obviously boys had sort of a lot of blank faces due to the scoreline and the nature of it. So obviously it's tough in those circumstances, but for me, I'm not too sure. Obviously, I feel like the way we play, it works well for me and the way the type of player I am, and I suppose on the ball, I have been effective as well. But in terms of just the style of the games we've played, especially this year, it hasn't really fallen like that. I don't think we've had those close games where we've had to make 200 tackles where it's just ruck's really important. I suppose our discipline's always been not the greatest, so it's always that sort of game where we give a penalty away and then they're kicking, then it's a different type of game. And I suppose for me it's just trying to keep getting better and identifying when to hit the ruck, when not to hit the ruck, and I suppose test level the bigger body, so just trying to survive that clean out, and also being aware that the refs see different things as well.
And just from a leadership perspective, 4 years ago you were captain at 20 side at the junior championships final. Is leadership something that you still harbour ambitions? Does Eddie look to you as a young emerging leader who's had some experience, and what's the relationship like there with leadership going forward?
Yeah, obviously, I feel like leadership is something that, it comes to you, in terms of you don't necessarily, it's not like a passion of mine to be a captain or anything like that. If it's put onto me, then, I'll take that. But I suppose here in the way it works in this team, obviously we have the leadership group, and then we have sort of a group under that, and we have our own special tasks that we have to, try to be a critical mass for the group, and making sure that whatever the leaders say and their points, that we're making sure we're doing those things, the little actions at training, or making sure that when we are around the field, around the group, that it's not just words, the actions of what the leaders are saying, if you get what I'm saying. So I suppose it's tough. Like, obviously I haven't really spoken about it to Eddie at all, about the leadership stuff. I don't think that's non-existent. Obviously we've got a great leadership group here, but we like to think that everyone in the group's a leader, not necessarily have to have the C next to their name. So whether that's small things around the place here that need to be caught up on, or on the field through actions as well, it's probably the big point for us. But yeah, I think
Fraser, has there been any player-led meetings this week, guys sitting in a circle and just saying it's going to be okay, fellas? You guys will be in Australian rugby for a long time. Can you paint a picture of what that's just been like with some of the younger guys this week?
Yeah, sure. Obviously, it was quite tough. Obviously, there's probably the older age. You got Slips and Whitey who've done it a lot, and then obviously the younger group. So, we've definitely had some tough meetings this week. Not necessarily player-led, but with Eddie and all the staff involved as well. And when they're all involved and when they're pointing you at the chest, it's hurtful as well. It's a bit more impactful. In terms of the group itself, I think we sort of all know what's happened and why. But there hasn't been really any player discussion, just players only. A lot of it has come from the coaches, and we've had our own input into those situations. Obviously, like you said, there is a core group here that hopefully will be involved in Australian rugby moving forward for the next into the next World Cup and so forth. So, I think the big key lesson for us is being able to just endure the pain, but also learning from it. It has to be a motivational factor moving forward. It was tough. It was a tough day. In the sheds post that. It's like we just came, woke up from a bad hangover. It was just very, very tough, and it was something that we just couldn't get out of our heads. But it was able to, come the Monday and the Tuesday, just being able to wipe that, get on the paddock, move forward, and we still have a chance this weekend. Albeit it's quite small, but there's still hope there. So for us, it's all about putting in a good performance against Portugal.
If a quarterfinal's not to be, do you think the playing group would just want it to be over and done with this weekend, or is everyone hoping you're here next weekend? Because the situation with Fiji will have to go above you to beat Portugal. I bet Portugal will go above you. What's the feeling around the permutations in the group?
Yeah, it's a tough one, right? Obviously, we want to make the quarters. That's the first and foremost thing. But say if Fiji lose or they don't win by a bonus point and we do, then it's the likelihood is us. Obviously, we're going to have to stay the week, and then the chances of us not making through it is quite tough. And I think the boys sort of understand that and know that that's a quite difficult position to be in. But I think the group itself is super connected. We actually love spending time with each other. So I haven't really heard many quarrels about the fact that if we do have to stay, that's an issue. And also, I think everyone does want to make the quarters, so that's probably their first priority.
Last couple, please, guys.
Fraser, just on that kind of sub-leadership group you mentioned there, I think Tom Hooper yesterday called them the Trojans. Can you talk us through that? So there's a leadership group, and then the Trojans, I assume, how many would be in that? Is that what you're talking about? You're part of that?
Yeah.
So what kind of layer is that? And then, so is it like a 3-layer, leadership, Trojans, and then everyone else?
Yeah, pretty much. I think it started out as like sort of key drivers within the game. So you had the second rows who called, you had set piece, like say hookers, you had the 10s and some of the 9s. So that's how it sort of started. I wasn't even in it to begin with. And then I suppose as it's progressed and it's worked out, obviously you've got your leaders at the top, and then the Trojans, there's probably about 8 to 10 of us in there. I think the whole point of it is the fact that, like I said before, leaders have a point. Obviously there's only 5 or 6 of them in there. They can't do it all across a squad of 33. So the whole point of the Trojans is that we are that critical mass. We're in the key positions, whether that is drivers of the game, energy bringers, and anything like that. That we can reinforce our ideas and reinforce what they're trying to say and what they're trying to do across the group. Obviously we meet as well a fair bit, and for us it's, like I said before, it's just trying to action what the leaders are saying and how powerful that can be for the group if the leaders are saying something but we're the ones to action it, but we're not part of the leadership group. For the rest of the group, how does that's very powerful. So that's just the idea of the Trojans.
Sorry, is that an Eddie invention, I guess, or was that there before?
No, I think it's from Eddie and obviously all the coaching stuff there. They brought it in.
Fraser, you were talking about the 20s there before. You had some success. I think they finished 5th this year, but at the moment there seems to be a bit of something missing in that jump from 20s up to Super and Test level. It's almost like it's going the other way. Do you have any thoughts on what's missing in that kind of gap?
I feel it's the group that I came with through in 2019. We were a special group, obviously. There's a lot of players in the team now who have played in the past few years. And before that, results probably weren't the greatest either. So it's hard to say that what we're doing now is right or wrong, considering the fact that before 2019 results were pretty poor. So in that age bracket, it is tough because you have the dominant Northern Hemisphere sides. Look at the way France are playing now. They were the best team in the under 20s when I was part of it. They were carving up then, and look what's happened now. So obviously we're trying to restructure some things in terms of our underage groups and trying to get some performance there. I think we're doing the right things, to be fair. Probably when I was coming through, we didn't really have. We had the under 20 when we only played 5 games a year. Now we're playing a fair few. We've got the under 16s, under 19s. I'm hearing whispers about under 21s coming back. I'm not too sure. So I think we're moving in the right direction. It's just trying to get everyone on the same page, how we play, what that looks like, and moving forward, trying to retain talent, trying to keep talent, and then obviously trying to develop that talent as well.
Last one, if there's anything else.
Fraser, you've got a pretty impressive mullet. Looks a bit better than Tom Hooper's. Is there a bit of a mullet thing going on in the back row here at the moment?
I've got a bit of a frollet as well. I think it's just a bit of long hair and then try to trim up the under bits. But yeah, Hoops tried to copy me there, so no, I don't know. No, that's not really much. Both headgear wearers, so yeah.